The Krillian Empire had conquered 17 star systems without breaking stride. Their midnight black exoskeletons gleamed under alien suns as they methodically dismantled civilizations that had taken millennia to build. They were evolutions, perfect predator, 8 feet of chitinous armor, razor-sharp claws that could slice through titanium, and a hive mind that made them utterly fearless in battle. For 3 centuries, the mere mention of Krillian scout ships sent entire sectors into panic. The Altarian Federation had surrendered after losing a single colony. The proud Zenthak warrior clans had fled beyond the galactic rim rather than face them. Even the technologically superior Vex Collective had negotiated a hasty peace treaty after witnessing Krillian forces tear through their automated defense grids like tissue paper. Commander Zakth stood on the bridge of the Dreadnought, Death's Edge, watching the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star grow larger on the viewscreen. The planet's inhabitants called it Earth, and intelligence reports suggested they were a relatively young species, barely spacefaring, with primitive chemical propulsion and fragmented governments. Perfect, Zakth clicked in satisfaction. Another quick harvest. The invasion began at dawn over what the humans called New York City. Krillian dropships descended like black rain, their warriors pouring out with mechanical precision. The humans' projectile weapons bounced harmlessly off Krillian carapaces, their military formations scattered in predictable terror. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of surrender, the humans adapted. Within hours, they had analyzed Krillian armor and identified weak points at joint connections. Instead of fleeing, they began coordinating attacks through their primitive communication networks. Most disturbing of all, they showed no signs of the existential despair that typically paralyzed conquered species. Lieutenant Vesket contacted the command ship from the battlefield, his mental voice tight with confusion. "Commander, the prey is behaving strangely." "Elaborate," Zakth commanded. "They've stopped using projectile weapons against our thorax, armor. Now they target our leg joints exclusively, and they're using some kind of chemical explosives to collapse buildings on our forces." Zakth's mandibles twitched irritably. "Irrelevant. Continue the harvest." But the reports grew more troubling. Humans in white coats were dissecting dead Krillian warriors, somehow learning their anatomy in mere hours. Human cubs, their young, were being evacuated not in panic, but in organized convoys protected by fierce adult defenders who fought with a savage protectiveness the Krillians had never encountered. Most unsettling of all, captured humans refused to break under interrogation. They would give only their name, rank, and a series of numbers. Some even smiled. "Sir," Visaket's mental voice crackled with static. "The prey has begun hunting us." "Impossible. Small groups of humans are setting traps. They're using our own hunting patterns against us. They've learned to mask their thermal signatures and—" The communication cut off. Zakth dispatched more forces. They didn't return either. 3 days later, something unprecedented in Krillian history occurred. A human communication was patched through to the command ship. The transmission showed a single human male, unremarkable, except for his steady gaze and the Krillian warrior helmet sitting on the desk beside him. "I'm General Marcus Hayes, United Earth Defense Command," the human said calmly. "I believe this belongs to one of yours." Zakth's entire exoskeleton bristled. "You will surrender immediately or we will glass your entire planet." The human's mouth curved upward, an expression Krillian xenobiologists had catalogued as indicating amusement. "General, you've been studying warfare for 3 centuries. We've been perfecting it for 3 millennia. Every conflict we've ever fought, we've learned something new. Every enemy we've faced has taught us their weaknesses. We have superior technology." "Had," Hayes interrupted. "We've been reverse engineering your equipment for 72 hours. But more importantly, you've made a fundamental miscalculation about our species." "Which is?" "You assumed we'd react like prey." Hayes leaned forward. "Humans aren't prey, Commander. We're persistence predators. We don't give up, we don't break, and we sure as hell don't surrender." The transmission ended. Over the following week, the unthinkable happened. Krillian forces found themselves outmaneuvered by an enemy that should have been cowering in caves. Humans appeared where they couldn't possibly be, struck with improvised weapons that shouldn't have been effective, and worst of all, they learned from every engagement. The Krillians' greatest strength, their hive mind, became their weakness. When humans captured a single warrior and subjected it to sounds and images that triggered overwhelming emotional responses, every Krillian in the sector felt the psychological assault. They're playing recordings of their young making distress calls while showing images of Krillian warriors being dissected, reported Captain Ethvar, his mental voice shaking. The cognitive dissonance is unbearable. Commander Zakth made the hardest decision in Krillian military history. He ordered the retreat. As the last Krillian ships fled Earth's solar system, General Hayes stood in his bunker, surrounded by captured alien technology and detailed biological studies. His aide approached nervously. "Sir, long-range sensors show they're broadcasting something to the entire galaxy." Hayes nodded grimly. "Put it through." The message was simple, transmitted in every known galactic language. Warning: avoid the third planet of system designated Sol 3. Species classification: apex predator. Approach with extreme caution. The humans do not yield. Within months, Earth received its first diplomatic contact from the Galactic Council, not as prey to be conquered but as equals to be respected. The Krillian Empire, meanwhile, quietly shifted their expansion efforts to uninhabited systems. Their 3-century reign of terror ended by a species that refused to be terrorized. In his final report, Commander Zakth wrote, "We sought prey and found predators. We sought victims and found warriors. We sought to harvest fear and discovered that some species transform fear into fury. The galaxy's most dangerous species is not the one with the sharpest claws or the strongest armor. It is the one that refuses to surrender." Humanity had finally met their match in the galaxy's most dreaded species. The Krillians, in turn, had learned that sometimes the most terrifying opponent is the one who smiles back.